Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of successful entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Joe Fitzgerald, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind various startups, experienced businesses, and long tenured ventures, challenges that they faced along the way, and the strategies that they are using to drive future expansion. Today, we are honored to have Mr. Doug Dvorak of the Sales Coaching Institute. Doug will be sharing more about where this business came from, as well as a glimpse into plans for the future. So let's jump right in, Doug. Welcome. How are we?
Thank you, Joseph. Happy holidays, and it's great to be on Founders Future podcast, and I look forward to sharing some of the wins. And as they say, experience is a great teacher, but the tuition's too high. I've got a lot of experience. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. But I wish when I started my business 21 years ago, there were resources like yours and Founders Future to help me not make those mistakes and go down a rabbit hole. But thank you.
That's why we're here. We're excited to pick your brain and see what we can pull out of there. Take us to a little bit of context, Doug, for the people who don't know you or sales coaching. Give us the quick synopsis of what this business is, who it's for, and how you help.
Sure. Started 21 years ago. Prior to that, I was a sales and marketing executive, primarily in the tech space for about 20 years. Always enjoyed being an individual contributor, regional, and then ultimately a chief revenue officer. And I found I had that entrepreneurial spirit, and you have to have that if you are in sales today or soon to be entrepreneur. And I really enjoyed sales training, coaching, interim fractional sales leadership. So 21 years ago, I started the Sales Coaching Institute and have grown and scaled this business, primarily North America, but we have an office in Spain, one in Mexico City, did a lot of work in Asia, but now primarily North America. And we help individual sales contributors, sales leaders with one-on-one sales coaching, training, one-to-one, one-to-many, live and virtual. And the biggest pillar of our business is our interim fractional sales leadership. So if an organization, small, medium, large, has a gap in sales leadership for any reason, myself or some of my team members will come in and run that sales organization for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, etc.
Got it. And so many different facets of this, but in its essence, training and coaching paired with, the fractional component that has become much more popular in recent years, but you guys have been doing this before it was trendy, at least. 21 years ago, when you got this off the ground, what was your experience as a new business owner, and what were some challenges that you guys faced in the early days?
Fear, anxiety, cutting the cord. When I left IBM, I remember my brother-in-law, Dave Bratchey, when I told him I'm going to be leaving IBM, he said, "You're leaving IBM with a pension, with benefits and a paycheck to do what?" I said, "Yes." And I had built that business about 3 years part-time while I was still with IBM. And I tell you, when I cut the cord and when I jumped in full-time, it took a meaning all of its own. And I really had to make it work. And I wish I had resources like yours and other podcasts or business coaches that could help me grow and scale my business. So a little bit of fear, a lot of excitement, but I had to make it work. And that was going out and finding new customers to grow and scale this business.
Yeah. How has things, in 21 years, I assume that things have evolved a little. What's been the biggest change in that time for you?
Well, I think came out of technology, but I've seen the advances in elastic cloud, IoT, 5G, AI, cloud, and those tools that when I was with IBM cost tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions for a data center, now are pennies on the dollar. And I have the same resources now that many Fortune 500 companies utilize to grow and scale their business. So for me, staying abreast of emerging technologies, not going down a rabbit hole, and if I can claw back to automate through Claude or AI or other tools or a great CRM or marketing communications program, that allows me to automate different pieces of my business. Because as you know, you can't grow and scale a business unless you've got good systems and processes. So always being on the aware of how can I add IT value, sales enablement technologies to my business that enhances the customer experience, allows me to grow and scale, and claw back what used to be an hour or two of my time to automate it.
Yeah. Expand on that for a minute. I want to talk through the macro element of this. AI is here. There's no denying that it's here to stay, but there's so much confusion. There's so much misunderstanding in general, but in application specifically. Where can the average business owner start to use AI to help them claw back that time that you refer to?
Sure. So I think it's being aware of what can be automated and with what AI tool, and ensuring that it adds value. It's been vetted. Check out references of other clients that use that AI tool. But a use case for me, we do a lot of content. I do a lot of writing, videos, podcasts. I had two full-time content writers. Now I've got one content manager who works 30 hours a week and is able, with AI, such as Claude, ChatGPT, other AI tools, take his work that he's already written, use these tools, and really accelerate his production and the burden of two full-time employees down to one 30-hour-a-week employee. So one 30-hour-a-week employee is doing the work of two full-time. So it's allowed me to redeploy resources to other areas of the business. That's one. The other is Calendly. It's an appointment app that you put in your email signature, so I don't have to play phone tag. It allows me to go into the Calendly app, set the days and times I'm available, then they can go schedule a meeting. That has saved me multiple hours and added hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 5 years since my organization has deployed that. In the past, I used to take notes on Zoom or Teams. Now I've got Otter AI, which for $12 a month bolts on, takes great notes. I don't know why every entrepreneur, sales professional does not use that. It allows me to focus, practice active listening on my Teams and Zoom calls. Then after I say to the prospect or client, we're taking some notes, I ask their permission before I launch Otter AI. Then I go through it, compare my notes to that, send it to the client or prospect. Huge efficiencies, huge clawing back of 5, 10, 20 more minutes. Tome, Tome, a AI-based PowerPoint app. If I get a call right now, I need a sales coaching program for a multinational, I'll go to my content, but I'll use Tome to type in. It spits out in 3 minutes, royalty-free graphics, and then I can use that. Saves me hours. Then I can go focus on that. So those are some of the tools I'm using right now.
It's exciting. What do you think is the biggest challenge or hurdle to overcome when we think about, adopting AI in everyday use case?
Well, AI is top of mind. A lot of money is going into it. I used to, and I underscore used to, scroll at night before bed, social media. I would waste time. My mind was, on overdrive and I couldn't go to sleep. Doom scrolling. People that hear the AI, the next shiny objects, and then they go down a rabbit hole. What is your business problem? Can it be automated? And then can you find an AI tool that's cost effective, that solves that problem, that you can pilot it? When I was in software, we had to pilot large, 7-figure with IT and security before they would deploy it. So use that same model. What are your business problems, challenges right now? And is there an AI solution that you can try for free for 30 days, measure it, look at the data, and if it solves your problem and it's inexpensive and vetted, check the references. That's how you can use it. Don't go down every AI shiny object and doom scroll and waste hours on a new app that's fun. What business problem does it solve?
Yeah, that's an important lens to look through this thing. Is AI is a tool, right? It's not a one size fits all magic bullet that's going to solve anything and everything within your business. We have to figure out what we're attempting to accomplish and then retrofit the tool, right? Not the other way around. We're not just force feeding AI just for the sake of the trendiness of the term. Bring this thing back to sales coaching. You mentioned a number of different tools that
Can
you
I just
guys.
add one more? For entrepreneurs, there's the classic buy or build. I'm cash strapped. I'm going to build this myself. Well, perhaps professionals, thought leaders don't cost, they pay. So maybe if you're trying to understand AI, hire a consultant for an hour or two. Professionals don't cost, they pay to help you with that technology roadmap to navigate AI. A couple hours at a few $100 on any of the, Upwork is a great resource to find great talent. In fact, case in point, I'm not an Apple user. My wife is. We had a huge Apple problem. I tried to get Apple support. I went right on to Upwork, put the problem, a gentleman from Pakistan, 15 minutes later, and $20 solved. So use some of those gig sites, but really, what's the business problem? Can I get some help on helping navigate this AI landscape? And is it really going to add true value? So
Absolutely. Focus back in on Sales Coaching Institute. 2025, we're right around the corner. What's big picture? What's top of mind? What's it going to look like for you guys?
we're really excited. We had a really strong 2024, and we're doing our year-end planning now. So that's more digital infrastructure, looking at all the areas of the business, but specifically technology. Have tweaking the website, looking at our digital marketing, SEO, content, podcast, and really looking and measuring the data, not just have a podcast by Doug. So Doug is driven by ego and not by really value to the constituents. What's the real value? What is the message? It's not about me, it's about them. So 2025, we're really excited. We know that based on our research that, the gig economy is going to continue to expand, and people post-COVID are now being told you got to go back to work. You can't work from home anymore. And some of those people that are on the fence saying, do I really want to work for the man or the corporation anymore? Or can I really start my own business? And so this consulting, whatever it might be, even for your business, where you're helping or individuals, entrepreneurs, late stage, early stage, navigate all the minefields. So my point is, we anticipate the fractional interim sales leadership growing by year over year by 20%. A lot of in-person sales training, one-to-many, and then our coaching business has really taken off. So fractional sales leadership, number one growth area, live training and keynotes, and then virtual one-on-one sales coaching.
It's exciting to hear. Speak for a minute about just the idea of somebody entering the field of sales now compared to 21 years ago. What do you think sets somebody up for success if they were day one green salesperson in 2025?
Why do you want to get into sales? I want to work 6 hours a day. I want a big expense account. I only want to work from home in my sweats, and I want to make $200,000 a year. Sales, always upside, a lot of freedom, entertainment, big expense account. No, first and foremost, when you're going to work for an organization as a sales professional, is that a marketable product or service? When you look at the stock market, what are those asset classes that are growing? Tech, energy, clean energy. So, do your research before you just blindly say, I want to get into sales and I want to work for this company. But I think, have a realistic understanding of what is required to be successful in 2025 in selling. And that's being able to navigate technology, the Microsoft suite of products, CRM. If you're an entrepreneur, have a good website, explore some digital marketing, but really using and leveraging technology, LinkedIn and other tools and some AI-based tools to leverage your reach. Because if you think you're going to get a list of 1,000 names and just smile and dial, those days are over. We don't cold call anymore. We warm call, research and preparation, LinkedIn, using that as an opportunity to research, build your brand with some good content on LinkedIn, your website. So really understanding that you have to be very sharp and adroit at sales enablement technologies to use and leverage those for reach and to build your pipeline.
Now, last question, we're up against the clock here, but if you've been on both sides of this fence, so this is an interesting one for you. If you were somebody sitting in your W-2, but you've got a business concept that you feel called to share with the world, how does somebody take that leap? What's the advice that you could give to them?
First piece of advice, use those community resources that are free to vet your business plan. I love what you said. Is it just an idea that you and a buddy had and it's on a Post-it note? Or is it a business plan? Then you can take the skeleton of that business plan and you can use some in-area resources that are free. The SBDC, Small Business Development Council, in every primary or secondary market, normally affixed to a four-year institution or a community college. They have free access to experts that have been successful entrepreneurs that will review your business plan for free. There is SCORE in every major city, Society of Retired Executives, where you can go with your business plan for free, get it vetted. If you have any questions on technology roadmap, those are two great resources. So to your point, Joseph, spend some time drafting a good business plan. And there's so many free resources on YouTube. Then write it and then share it with some people in your sphere of influence, your own personal board of directors, and then check out SCORE and the SBDC for free.
Yep. Doesn't matter how good your idea is to you, it matters how good your idea is to the market, right?
Absolutely.
Doug, that is a wonderful place for us to begin to wrap things up. Where can people find more about Sales Coaching Institute?
Sure. Salescoach.us or my phone number 847-359-6969 or email Doug@DougDvorak.com, DOUG@DOUGDVORAK.com. And as a gift, Joseph, to the Founders Futures podcast listeners, if they put in the email, heard Doug on the Founders Future podcast, I'll send them one of my free ebooks, A Sales Leader's Guide to Success, 12 Proven Strategies to Grow and Scale Your Business.
Much appreciated for that and for sharing the journey and the wisdom that you've gained along the way, Doug. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we are dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next